guys, it's your host Maddie on the High Road Podcast, and today we're going to have a little bit of a different episode. Normally my episodes are at least an hour long. I can talk and talk and talk. This one is just honestly going to be short, sweet, and to the point. It's also something that I'm just going to totally raw dog, honestly. Everything that I say today is just going to come straight from the heart. Like I have a few notes and stuff, but, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. As I do, I just kind of have my people that I love to listen to just to help me grow and gain knowledge and information and help me to reflect just as an individual. But in a couple episodes that I've listened to, I thought it was really interesting that they had done just short snippets, and they had done kind of exactly what I'm doing right now, where they're just quickly jumping on and kind of seeing how the audience reflects with that and how they perceive it. And so I kind of thought that was just really interesting. And there's so many things throughout the day that come to me and I'm like, dang, I could talk about that, but I couldn't talk about that for an hour, but I could really be super passionate about it for like 10 minutes. So here we are. This is one thing that has been heavy on my mind and just on my heart lately. And that is just the idea of being unbothered. We've heard it before. People say it all the time. It's something that people strive to be. I want to be unbothered. But what does that mean? Because I think that when people say that, a lot of the times it comes with a negative connotation if they're not fully understanding what being unbothered means. Because it really, truly means like you are peaceful. You have peace. You're not comparing yourself to someone else and their life or doing anything based off of the reflections or the responses or the validation of other people. It's you being unbothered and doing what's best for you and doing what brings you peace. So when I hear a lot of people say, I just want to be unbothered, sometimes it comes with that negative connotation. And I think sometimes it's people being like, I just don't care. I'm just going to, not that I just don't care, I'm going to pretend like I don't care. I'm going to like walk around like a badass and be really tough and nothing bothers me. I'm just cold to the core. And I think that has been me at some points in my life. I think that sometimes people are aware of it and sometimes people just aren't. And I think that if you're cold like that for a long time, it just kind of becomes who you are, or who you choose to be is what I should say. And it's just not human. It's not. And as people, we're supposed to feel things. We're supposed to feel, emotions and feel the weight of how things and people and moments make us feel and be able to, express all those things. And so when we use the word, I want to be unbothered, or that phrase, like it's something of like a phase that we just don't care or we're just being cold, I think we're looking about it all wrong. And so that's something that I really wanted to talk about today, because I have had multiple people with good intentions, I believe, reach out to me and just be like, I just noticed that you're not yourself lately. And I'm really careful with this, right? Because like I said, I think that a lot of people had really good intentions. Some people, I'm not quite sure what their intentions were. Truthfully, some people that had reached out, I'm like, you don't even know who I am anymore, right? And that's when I could become defensive, because I've worked really, really hard. I think when you've worked hard on yourself and you were once someone who maybe had a certain mindset or was in a certain environment, or just a certain season that was tough. And I think for me, it was like I was really good at masking those things. And so I found a lot of distractions. And so in those seasons, some of those people have came back and been like, you just don't seem like yourself. And again, with good intentions, I really believe that these people are just trying to check in for the most part. But I think over a certain period of time, it's fair to be like, hey, I don't really know you and you don't really know me anymore. And that's the goal. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Truthfully, that's a really, that's a good thing, because everybody should continue to grow. And in a lot of relationships with people, that can kind of give you a little bit of a fresh start in some circumstances. I'm not saying you should forget certain seasons with people, especially people who have maybe wronged you very badly in the past. I'm not saying forget about all of that, but in these situations, and people were mentioning, hey, you just don't seem like yourself. I thought about that and just reflected on that those statements. And I was like, actually in the past few months, in the season that I'm in now, and the transitions that I've gone through, and just it has been a hard season. And truthfully, a lot of days that I've had, actually really it's been hard for me to find myself. It's been hard for me to feel like myself. It's been hard for me to get out of bed or to find something to look forward to. I've had plenty of those days. But I also will say this is one of the most genuine times in my life where I have allowed myself to feel everything that I'm feeling. And so when I reflect on people mentioning to me, you don't seem like yourself, I think that that's a very true statement. I think because who I once was, or the things that I once did, was mask everything. And so truthfully, people probably could never tell what kind of season I was in. People could probably never tell how I was feeling, other than me faking happiness or faking like my life was just perfect and everything was going fine and dandy, when I didn't feel like that on the inside. But I didn't know how to express it. Truthfully, I didn't even know how to sit with myself to be comfortable enough to go through that process and feel the things that I needed to feel. So when people made those statements to me, I thought that really probably is the truth. But I also have never felt more like myself than I do now. And that is because I've just allowed myself to go through the process that I've needed to. When we are going through things that are uncomfortable, that are hard, when we're comparing ourselves to other people, when we went through a breakup and we want that person to notice us, or that person we want to prove something to that person. We want to prove something to that family member who constantly is controlling. We want to prove something to that, where we just lost our job, and how we're gonna move on and we're gonna find a better job. And all of my past coworkers who talked bad about me, I'm gonna prove something to them. These are the kind of situations that we get into as people. And we want so badly to be unbothered, meaning that we're not thinking about their opinions. We're not responding or acting in ways that reflect anything to do with them. But a lot of the times we confuse being unbothered with simply pretending like we don't care. And that is not the truth. Our nervous system holds on to things. It holds on to the feelings, to the stressors, to even the traumas. And if we don't release those things, what ends up happening is it just cycles in our life. It just continues to replay over and over and over again. So that thing, that person that you thought that you were unbothered by, you haven't seen them in 6 months. And all of a sudden they pop up and you're triggered again because you didn't process it, because you didn't go through it, because you didn't go through and sit with the things that you had to sit with. And you're confusing what being unbothered actually means. When we are faking it, when we are pretending like we don't care, that isn't going to work. At least it might work temporarily, but not for an extended or long period of time. It will just get us through a very small moment or a small season, but it will always come back around. And when I think about the power behind this, if we were to all actually have the goal of being unbothered and being able to walk in freedom in our lives and be able to not be held down and chained to people's opinions or to past versions of ourselves or to past things that don't make up our identity, our past mistakes, places that we've outgrown, things in places and environments that we don't belong in anymore, relationships, friendships. In order for us to move on and to truly actually be unbothered means that we have to leave those things behind and not just be distracted. Distractions are one of the biggest things right now that I'm very focused on, because I catch myself during certain moments of the day. Maybe I'll just be doom scrolling on social media. And this was something that I had to really sit with, because it was a distraction for me maybe when I was feeling uncomfortable. It was a distraction for me maybe when or I needed to do something and I just simply wanted to procrastinate it. Whatever it is, whether it's we're choosing distraction through social media, choosing distraction through finding other people in validation, doing things with our patterns and our habits and our time that don't reflect where we want to go, but we're just trying to waste time. We're trying to let time pass and see if we feel different on the inside. Those are all distractions. And that doesn't help anything. It just delays the process. It just makes things harder for us in the future. And so if we want to truly be able to be released from people's opinions and things that we've outgrown and places that we no longer belong in, we have to remember that we can actually truly move on, not just by pretending that we don't care or pretending like we're cold or pretending like we're just zombies, like just walking around feeling nothing. It's not the truth. You can pretend all you want, but it's not the truth. You're a human being. You have feelings. And if you put those things down, if you suppress them, sure, it might work right now. It might even work for a couple months. If you're really lucky, it might even work for a year or two. But those things are always going to come back. And that is not being unbothered. That is the total opposite. That is letting every single thing bother you to the core, because it's only going to just bubble up. It's going to come out. The second that you see that person again, you're going to get triggered. The second that you see that person on social media, the second that you run into that situation again in your new relationship, The second that you run into that conflict again at your new job, the second that you have that conversation again with that family member, if you don't deal with it to its core, pretending like you just don't care doesn't work. It's easier to avoid. It's easier to suppress. It's easier to be mad, angry. It's easier to just pretend like it means nothing to you. But we're human. And the things that we face and the things that we attach to things. We attach to people. We attach to moments. We attach to our environment. Those are things that we naturally attach to. And of course, everybody is different and everybody has a different attachment styles. But we all have the ability and the capability to do those things. And we can't just pretend like we're unbothered. I don't care. It means nothing to me. Because it's not the truth. In order for you to truly be unbothered, it means that you can move on with your life because you have processed the things that you needed to process. You've gone through the emotions, you've faced the feelings, you've faced the discomfort. You've not suppressed them down, you've dealt with them head on. You didn't find distractions. You didn't wait for justice. You didn't wait for an apology. And you didn't just wait for karma or revenge to strike that person. You chose not to be a slave to those things. That is being unbothered, being able to move on without those things because you are responsible and in charge of you because you have the freedom and the choices to move on without waiting for other people or situations to catch up to you or to see things how you see them or to give you the apology that you deserve. That is being unbothered. And in order for us to live in a world where all of us can truly be unbothered and move on and live the best life that we can possibly live without being chained down to things that no longer serve us, we have to be able to find true peace. And that is what true peace really is. So thank you guys so incredibly much for listening to this very short episode of mine. It feels really good. I was really, really passionate about this one. And so it feels good that I got it out. And I hope that it serves even just one person well. I will see you next time on the High Road Podcast. Remember, I am so proud of you. You were doing so good. And you are not on this journey alone. God bless you.